Welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, Will Parkinson will not be able to join us today, so we will be doing call-ins. To call in, click the pinned comment in the chat. There was a report that came out this morning saying from Rich Cimini saying that he expects Zach Wilson to definitely not return with the Jets next season. So comment your thoughts, submit your questions for me to respond to, and always feel free to call in. All right. So Rich Cimini put out a report today saying that he expects Zach Wilson to be not start this week and be traded for a pick. I honestly think Zach's time is up in New York. He came in to start. He was apparently reluctant to play, but the reporting has been so poor this year. I don't know what to expect, but Rich Cimini did report this morning that he expects Zach to no longer be with the New York Jets, which means he will not start this weekend against the Patriots. I think he's definitely not going to start against the Patriots, as he has half of his career interceptions against the Patriots. I think they give Trevor Siemian the nod. Do I want to see Trevor Siemian? No, I don't. But do I think they start him? Yes. I mean, that was in the debacle on Thursday night. I don't think he played that bad, but he definitely didn't look good. He threw a terrible interception, but for me, I'm just rooting for wins. I do not want to tank. Still gonna have to hit on the pick no matter where you are in that draft order. Speaking of draft, we have the 8th pick per tankathon. So I think we just have to get an offensive lineman. It doesn't matter who it is. We just need to get some sort of tackle, guard, whatever it is. Again, to call into the show, click the pin comment in the chat. We will be accepting a ton of your calls, as we'd love to hear from you what you guys thought of the debacle on Thursday night. Submit your questions for me to respond to. Of course, you guys can always ask any questions. I'd love to give you guys the best answer I can. So the game. Let's get into the game. I know we talked about it a little on yesterday's stream with Boy Green, but positives and then negatives. The positives are Breece Hall got a touchdown. The offense, I thought, was lucky if they were going to score 10 points. We scored 20 points, but then the defense gave up 37. The defense, Saleh said this defense is a championship caliber defense, and then he goes into the press conference and says they have technique issues. How does a championship defense have technique issues? I mean, it doesn't make any sense what Saleh's even saying at the podium now. We have a comment coming in. Alan, thank you. Connor, you rock. In 30 years, you will be pessimistic like me. Best for this franchise is to get blown out by the Pats and hope Woody changes his mind and clean house. Thank you so much, Alan. Feel free to call in. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Pin comment in the chat to call into the show. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you watching me. So, Trevor Siemian, he had a terrible interception, but other than that, I thought he looked okay. He didn't look great. Unfortunately, I think we are going to see him against the Patriots. Do I want to see him? No. But do I think we are? Yes. All right. We got Alan joining the show. Alan, how are you today?
Hey, Connor, what's going on? I heard you on Jake's show. You rock, okay?
You,
I'm afraid in 30 years when you're going to become my age, you're going to be pessimistic like me. But I am. I feel bad that your dad made you a Jet fan. I'm sorry for that. We need to have a conversation with him later.
I'll tell you a story. Real quick.
Sure, go for it.
I think it was 2019 season when the Jets, Greg Williams was the defensive coordinator against the Raiders, and we called an all-out blitz, and Henry Ruggs scored that Hail Mary touchdown to win the game. My dad goes to me, he goes, Connor, this team is going to suck for your whole life. I'm giving you the chance now. You can either stay with the Jets or pick a new team. But then if you pick a new team, you have to stick with them forever. And I'm like, okay, I'll sleep on it. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I'm riding with the Jets.
Oh, Connor. I was going to blame your dad, but now I have to blame you, Connor. What's going on? Couple of comments. One question for you and then a comment.
Okay.
I know you said you didn't want to tank, and I'm the king of tanking.
Yes, you and Mr. Bonesy.
Yes. When Greg Zuerlein was lining up against the Commanders, okay?
Yes.
In the back of your mind, were you hoping that he was going to miss that? Honestly, come on.
Honestly, it didn't matter to me. Like, I was just kind of numb for that kick because, like, if we were gonna win that game, like, we won, but Brownlee got a touchdown. That was what that, and Brees had a great game. That's what is most important to me. Like, so if we're gonna lose and have the good players play well, like the young players play well that we're gonna use, cool. If we're gonna win and have them play well, cool. I just don't want to win or lose by using Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard.
Because if you think about it right now, if they would have missed that kick right now, they'd be the 4th pick in the draft. And if they lose next Sunday in New England, they would have the 3rd pick in the draft and have their choice of everybody. Harrison, the 2 tackles. So that's why, honestly, that win last week to me was more of a loss because I look at this draft. I'm a draft guy.
Yes.
And right now they're sitting at 8. Hopefully the Bears lose on Sundays because they stay at 8. Again, you got to root for the Bears and the Chargers and the Titans. Maybe they can move up to 6. To me, there are 4 players in this draft that I would not trade back from. And that would be Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Olu Fulshanu, and Joe Alt. And unfortunately, where they sit right now, there's a good chance that all 4 will be gone. Okay. So that's the reason why I thought last week's win was more of a loss. And then about my comment, to me, and you watched the game on Thursday.
Of course.
This coach has absolutely no idea what.
Oh, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's like Todd Bowles. He's Todd Bowles 2.0. Defensive-minded head coach, does not know how to run an offense and has no emotion. Commanders game, 1 minute and 46 seconds left. Commanders player goes down, which forces them to use their timeout. He's sitting there like this. Biggest play of the game to get Zerline in the field goal range, and he's not even saying anything in the headset. It's a joke. He's a terrible offensive-minded coach, and he gets all the credit for the defense and no credit for how much of a debacle the offense has been this season. And if you're going to do that, then give Ulbrich all the credit for defense, or if you're going to do that, give solid credit for both. But then if you're just going to give solid credit for the defense, it's Ulbrich's defense and Hackett's offense. That's how it should work. Robert Saleh is a defensive coordinator, not a head coach.
Connor, you know what? That's why I like you, because you actually speak the truth on that.
Thank you.
And that's the reason why I want them to get blown out on Sunday. Because, again, Woody Johnson made that proclamation a couple of weeks ago that everybody's coming back. But if you lose 35-3 to the Patriots on Sunday, there'll be a revolt from this fan base to get rid of everybody. So, again, rather than lose maybe a 17-13 game, to lose 35-3 on Sunday, and trust me, I hate the Patriots. But to lose 35-3 on Sunday to the Patriots would definitely open the minds of this fan base and Woody Johnson, and maybe maybe allow them to clean house, because that's what this team needs. They need new leadership. They need a new regime. They need a new GM. They need a new head coach, and nothing will change next year. I know you bring back a 40 to 41-year-old quarterback, but again, you have an incompetent head coach. So again, I love your show. I love your content. But again, I was going to blame your dad, but you know what? I think I'm going to start blaming you on that, okay?
Thank you so much, Alan.
Have a good one, man.
You too. Thank you. Great call. Great call by Alan. I agree with what he's saying. Those players are definitely the star players in the draft, but all these draft guys are lottery tickets. You don't know how they're going to end up. Like, look at Akeem Ekwonu. The Jets, you can't miss. Same with Evan Neal, and Jets took Sauce Gardner, and they've ended up just fine with that. But I agree with what Alan's saying. Like, my whole thing is, why did Woody Johnson have to go and tell Brian Costello of New York Post that they're all coming back? Like, at least give himself the right to change his mind. Now that is always going to be held up against him. Great call by Alan, but I definitely agree with what he's saying. Submit your questions in the chat for me to respond to. I'd love some questions. Thank you. What do you guys think? Do you guys think who do you think is going to start Sunday? Type your answers in the chat. Who do you think is going to start Sunday? Simeon, Rippon, or the Wilson? No matter where we are in the draft, though, we're still going to have to hit on these picks. Like, no matter where we are, we're still going to have to hit on the pick. That's just the reality of the draft. This team has been putrid this season. The Browns are literally a perfect example of what the Jets were supposed to be like when Aaron Rodgers went down. Again, call into the show, the pinned comment in the chat. I pulled it up yesterday with Boy Green on my stream, but I'm gonna actually pull up the Joe Douglas draft chart again, courtesy of Joe Caparoso. Let's just take a look at this real quick. Okay. It's up. Okay, good. All right. Okay, 2020, Mekhi Becton. He's a starter. He shouldn't be. He's been terrible this year. Denzel Mims. I was a fan of that pick, honestly. We just couldn't find a way to get involved in this offense, as this offense has changed systems about every year. And we've just had terrible offensive coordinators year in and year out. Ashton Davis, the backup safety, he's been incredible. I think we re-signed him. I love that pick. Jabari Zuniga was a terrible pick, some offensive tackle who played a couple preseason games, and then boom, out to I think he went to the Saints, and he's not on an active roster right now. James Morgan, I don't know if he took a single preseason snap. He was supposed to be he was a quarterback. I don't know how much quarterbacking he actually did. He was terrible. LaMichael Pirine, running back, he's now on the Chiefs. I don't know why I'd say he's not on an active roster, but he was actually good in his time with the Jets. He was a solid running back. He had a couple touchdowns, a couple flashes. And then the other pick, Cameron Clark, I'd give Joe Douglas a pass on that pick as he had a season-ending injury during training camp. Bryce Hall had a great game against the what was it against the Eagles. He had a huge role in that game, and then he had that touchdown against the Broncos. Boyden Mann was one of the worst punters in Jets history. He's on the Eagles right now, I believe. He basically is the reason we don't have Trevor Lawrence, and then gave up a kick return touchdown against the Lions and Patriots to lose the game because they were just terrible low line punts. All right, 2021. Zach Wilson. The only way to put it is Zach Wilson's a bust. There's one way and one way only, and that's to say Zach Wilson's a bust. Elijah Vera Tucker, if he could stay healthy, he could be an all-pro for sure. Elijah Moore, who just had a touchdown against us on the Browns. He's on the Browns. He had a touchdown against us on Thursday Night Football. We just literally didn't throw him the ball. Last year, he was like demanding the ball. He demanded the trade because Zach Wilson didn't throw him the football. He had so much potential. We didn't use him right. All right, Michael Carter, the running back. Michael Carter was actually a good. I was a fan of Michael Carter. He was a good running back for the team, and then we traded him to we cut him, and the Cardinals signed him. I really liked Michael Carter. He had a couple flashes, and then we obviously brought in Breece Hall, and Breece Hall just took over all the carries. All right, Jamien Sherwood. Jamien Sherwood is solid linebacker. He just struggles to find playing time on this team, as this linebacker room is very, very talented. We got Wild Wave come in. Alan, be quiet with your negativity. Wild Wave, I'd love for you to call in. Pin comment again, everyone. Pin comment in the chat. Call into the show. Wild Wave, I'd love for you to call in. I really want to see what you have to say. All right, Michael Carter, the cornerback. Michael Carter, the cornerback, has been the best nickel corner in the league this season. For a 5th-round pick, I'll take it all day. Very, very good. Jason Pinnock, we made a big mistake letting him go to the Giants. He's playing well with the Giants. Fine for a 5th-round pick. I don't know how to say his name, but like I said with Boy Green, number 45, he was a linebacker. He just never really got playing time on the system. Brendan Eccles has been great. He had 2 pick sixes against the Dolphins last year, and he had that great fake punt this year. Jonathan Marshall, he's on the Steelers now. I don't know why it doesn't say he's not on an active roster, but he's on the Steelers now. He's a fine pass rusher. All right. Let's get into 2022. Obviously, the first 4 picks I don't even need to do any explaining for. Just incredible picks by Joe Douglas. 3rd round, Jeremy Ruckert. I think he can develop and be a very, very solid tight end 2 in this system. I think that was a good pick for a 3rd-round pick. Max Mitchell showed some flash when he came back in after his injury last season, but he just hasn't been solid this year, as Carter Warren is basically our new swing tackle. Then Michael Clemens is a solid pass rusher. He had that whole thing with the Browns, blah, blah, blah. But he's fine for a 4th-round pick. All right, 2023. Will McDonald. He's going to eventually find playing time in this system. I think it was a panic pick by the Jets as they did not expect Broderick Jones to be taken by the Steelers. Fine pick. Like, not great, but he'll be solid eventually. Joe Tippmann was a great pick. He's been such a great center. He's going to be our starting center next year. Carter Warren can be our swing tackle next year. 4th-round pick, solid pick. Izzy Abandokonda, finally giving him some touches. He showed a ton of flash when they give him the ball. Zaire Barnes, just a packed linebacker room. He can't find playing time. JBC, packed cornerback room, cannot find playing time. And then Zach Kuntz is obviously in our practice squad. He's fine. That draft class was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't, terrible. It was fine. Let me take that off the screen. So that was Joe Douglas's draft chart. Again, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Click the pinned comment in the chat to call into the show. Again, I want to hear what you guys have to say on who you think starting. And if you don't want to call in, ask all the questions you want in the chat. I'd love to answer. Personally, I said it. I've said it before. I think Trevor Siemian's gonna. Yep, Allen coming in. Siemian starts. Wilson and his girlfriend already have started vacation plans for this weekend. I agree. I think Siemian does start. I want Zach to start just because I know we're not keeping him, but he can only up his trade value from here. But they're definitely not going to start him, as he has half of his career interceptions against the Patriots. I agree. Allen, I love Allen's takes. I think Allen has great takes. It's just the Thursday night game. Other than us scoring 20 points, there were no positives to take away from that game. 20 points and then Breece Hall scoring a touchdown. That's literally all the positives from that game. Allen coming in. I want to make a chart, so I want to hear what he has to say. Connor, please create a chart for JD's high-price free agent signings other than Reed. It's been horrific. You know what, Allen? Tomorrow's stream, I will make a chart for that. I promise you. Tomorrow morning, probably Will Parkinson will be joining me tomorrow morning at 9. I will make a chart for that today. Mark my word, Allen. Laken Tomlinson's up there. Laken Tomlinson has been terrible. 13 pressures against the 32 ranked defense. That's just terrible. The whole offensive line has been terrible. I mean, Jake Hansen has been one of the best offensive linemen on this line other than Tippmann. That just shows how bad this line has been. Damian coming in. I hope Izzy gets more time in the last game. I hope so too, Damian. Damian, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Feel free to call in. I'd love for you to call in. Same with Wild Wave. I know Alan called in. I want to hear from Wild Wave and Damian on what they think about this season and what we do this offseason. Comment who you guys think we should sign and who you guys want us to sign in free agency this season. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And also, I'd love for I know I'm keep saying it, but I'd love for you guys to call in. Personally, if you guys had to get any wide receiver to this offseason, who would you guys want? Personally, I want T. Higgins. T. Higgins is my guy. We can get so many years out of him. Devontae Adams scares me with how old he is. I want T. Higgins, but comment what you guys think. Also, do you guys want everyone gone? Who do you want fired? I think we have to run it back with this group one more year with Rodgers, but if you guys want anyone fired, comment in the chat or call in who you want fired. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Damian coming back in. We need to sign 3 to 4 offensive line players. The O-line is that bad. I definitely agree with you on that. I think we draft Latham, Fuega, Alt, or Fashawn if they're available. All 4 tackles. So here, let's look at this. You have our what we're gonna start off with is we have Tippmann at center, Vera Tucker at right guard, and then we have one of those four guys at tackle. So then, okay, so we have those guys away. Then we sign Jonah Williams. He could be our other tackle, while Carter Warren's kind of like our swing tackle. And then we sign what's his name, Robert Hunt as our guard. I think that would be our best possible offensive line for this season to fit under the cap. Damien, I'd love for you to call in. You have good takes. I want to really hear what you got to say. I just put the call-in link in the chat. I know it's pinned, but I just commented that in the chat. We got 15 people in here. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the love. Also, who do you guys think we should who do you think we sign as our QB2 this offseason? I want to hear what you guys have to think. Pin comment in the chat, call in link, and then I also put the link just in the chat again. YouTube user, who are some of the guys who aren't getting much playing time you would like to see more often? Izzy Abandokonda, Xavier Gipson, Jason Brownlee. I want to see more of them, rather Lazard and Cobb. I want to see. Let me look on the defensive side. Like I just want to see the young guys play. I'd love for you to call in, YouTube user. Damien, sorry I can't call in at work in the moment. It's fine. It's fine. I appreciate you watching the stream, though. Thank you, Damien. I appreciate it. Going back to this question, who are some of the guys? So Izzy, Gibson, Brownlee. Those are probably my three main guys for offense. Defense, a lot of the guys are playing. Who I at least want to see. I think they're doing a good job. But week 18, I literally just want to see all the young kids play. Allen coming back in. Damien, I hope for 3 new starting offensive linemen next year. Starting O-line. Bakhtiari, Runyon, Tippmann, Vera Tucker, Fuega. Here's the thing. I feel like if we get Bakhtiari, MetLife is switching to turf. That's the biggest thing. If we get Bakhtiari, MetLife is going to switch to turf, in my opinion. Because Bakhtiari is the biggest like turf preacher out of anyone in the league. I think if that was our offensive line next year, it would be solid. I want to bring in someone like who can help. Well, I don't want Bakhtiari to have that role himself. I think Carter Warren can be our swing tackle next year. I think Carter Warren could be what we hope Billy Turner to be. Comment in the chat your questions. Everyone to call into the show. Pin comment in the chat. Are you guys, and also comment or call in, what are your thoughts? Do you want to win this game or do you want to lose? I'm sure most of you guys are going to say you want to lose, but I don't know. I want to hear from everyone. Also, Quincy Williams better be an All-Pro this season. I know we're going to the defense now, but Quincy Williams better be All-Pro this season. He has had such a solid season. He deserves All-Pro. I think. Who do you guys want to see? Who do you guys want to see get more involved on the on the offense and defense side of the ball? This is my aunt coming in. What best practices are you seeing from other teams? What do you think we can employ to see some success in the future? Love your show. Thank you, Aunt Mare. We need to fire the offensive line coach, Keith Carter. We need to fire a pass game coordinator, Todd Downing. We need to fire, what's his name? Rob Calabrese, the quarterback coach. And we just need to rebuild this whole offensive line. Thank you for the support, Aunt Mare. I appreciate it. Alan coming back in, agreeing with my takes could get you Shadow Realms from the Assman show. Thank you for the support, Alan. I really appreciate it. Damien coming in, just subscribe to you on the back of your boy Green appearance. You are a natural and a great addition to the Jets YouTube community. Thank you, Damien. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I actually really appreciate the subscription. How far are we? Let me check. How far are we away from 100? I'm gonna pull it up on my phone real quick, and then I'll get to the next questions. 3 away from 100, guys. Come on, we can do it this stream. 3 away from 100. Let's do it. My aunt coming back in. If you had to say three positive things we've got going for the Jets next season, what would they be? We have one of the best quarterbacks of all time going into 2024. We have a championship caliber defense, and honestly, I think those are the only two. This team has had such a bad year. I have some hope going into next year, but just those two things. Guys, again, to call into the show, pin comment in the chat. We're not coming in. When do you think Rodgers will retire? Oh, this is my friend Raphael. When do you think Rodgers will retire, and should he retire soon? Who will you put as starter for the days with no Rodgers? Draft pick or give Wilson another chance? Rodgers confirmed on the Pat McAfee show we're gonna get at least 2 more seasons out of him. I think he retires after the 2025 season. Who will we put as starter? I honestly haven't looked that far ahead, so I think we draft Jordan Travis in the 4th round. I think Rodgers can develop him, draft pick, or give Wilson another chance. We definitely are trading Wilson for a 5th or 6th round draft pick if we can even get that. I hope we can. Thank you for the support. Alan coming back in. You're definitely a natural. Don't be a Jets fanboy like some other YouTubers. Speak from the heart and be critical when it's warranted. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. Who do you guys think on this defense has had an all-pro season so far? I think Quincy's been one. Allen, Michael Pratt, Tulane, late 3rd round. See, I like Zinter with our 3rd round pick. I'm not huge on Michael Pratt. I've seen enough film on him. I'm not a big fan of his. My top 3 quarterbacks are I'd say we take quarterback 4th round. My top 3 guys are Quinn Cook, Quinn Cook, Sam Hartman, and Jordan Travis. Those are my top 3 guys. If we end up with one of those 3, I'd be very happy. This team, man. They really make you believe. They really make you believe they're going to have such a great season. And then they just do almost one of the biggest choke jobs against the Commanders. Damian coming back in. Coaching is a big issue from all the pre-snap penalties we had. That's all on the coaches. Damian, I could not agree with you more. I 100% agree with you. I think the coaching staff has been terrible. I think the coaching staff's been terrible, but they're not going to go. Hackett's gone. Hackett should be gone. Saleh should be gone. Douglas should be gone. All 3 of them should be gone, but it's Woody's giving them 1 more year. I don't know how. Let me get to Terrence and then Allen. Terrence, keep up the good work, young man. I've been a diehard Jets fan since the 80s, and I'll be sure to support you and other podcasters because we are all family. Thank you, Terrence. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. Allen coming back in. Zinter coming off that injury will be a day 3 guy. No, after I've done a ton of mock draft simulators and ton of research on this draft. Zinter is going in the 3rd round, and I think Zinter can be a very talented guard, but he's definitely going to go in the 3rd round. Leany coming in. If Rodgers played all season, what do you think our record would have been? I honestly don't think it would have been much better. Good question. I don't know if it would have been a lot better because the offensive line is also depleted. I say, what are we now? 6-10. I'd say we'd be. Honestly, I have no idea. Let me just think. The games that we would have won with Rodgers. So 10. I'd 8-8. I think Alan's right. 8-8 or 9-7. I think that would be our record. We wouldn't be a ton. I don't think we would have made the playoffs with Rodgers fully healthy. But that's just me. Good question by Leany. But I don't think we would have made the playoffs if Rodgers was fully healthy because this offensive line. is just shot. We've had like I think the most different combinations. We've had like 13 combinations. This week was our first week where we had the same combination 2 weeks in a row since like week 2 or something. It's been a joke. Yeah, Damien thinks 8-8 too. I think 8-8 or 9-7. I think we definitely still would have won the Giants game. We would have won the Chiefs game. I mean, it's not that many games that he would have contributed in and made a huge difference. Again, guys, call into the show, pin comment in the chat. Thank you guys for all the support. Let me share this tweet from Michael Nania, co-founder of Jets X Factor. Oh, Alan comes back in. We'll get to Alan's question, then I'll pull up the tweet from Nania and another user. So, Alan first. What's worse, Becton over Wirfs or Lawson over Hendrickson? What's a worse take? Is that what you mean? Probably Becton over Wirfs. I think Lawson's actually a very talented pass rusher. I just think this defensive line rotation is it's a great room. It's hard to get playing time. YouTube user coming back in. I'd love for you to call into the show. YouTube user, please call into the show. Pin comment in the chat. That 2020 Raiders loss was one of the worst collapses I've seen from the Jets, and I've seen a lot. The fact you didn't jump ship after that loss is remarkable. Thank you, YouTube user. I mean, that was terrible. We called a full all-out blitz with one of the fastest players in the league at the time, Henry Ruggs, and it just did not work. All right, let me share my screen. Where is it? Okay. Let me pull up Michael Nania's tweet. Co-founder of X Factor Sports. Jets X Factor, my bad. Breece Hall per Next Gen Stats. 112 rush yards over expected, 8th among running backs, 115 yards after catch over expected, 4th. Combined, he's generated 237 yards expected, 2nd best among running backs with 100 plus carries, trailing only Christian McCaffrey. I was having this conversation yesterday with Boy Green on my stream, and we were saying the only running back we'd rather have over over Breece Hall right now is Christian McCaffrey. In my opinion, he's the 2nd best running back in this league. I mean, you guys name it in the chat. I cannot name a better running back than Breece Hall. I can't name 2 running backs better than Breece Hall. And I just thought about it the other night during the Browns game. I was like, I cannot name 2 guys better than Breece Hall right now in the league. So I think Breece Hall has had a remarkable season so far. Alan, I did not hear you make that take. I hear you a lot on the Jake Asman show, and I never heard you say that. And Wild Wave, I don't know if I've ever heard you call in. So I did not get that take from you. But Breece Hall has had a remarkable year so far. It's been incredible. And behind this terrible offensive line, it's reminding me of what Saquon Barkley did with the Giants a couple of years ago. And the Giants are still terrible, but the offensive line is at least still below average, but not in the 30 column like the Jets have been. Jets have been terrible. I know it's injuries, but like look at what the Browns are doing. Their whole team is literally depleted. I don't know if you saw that after the Commanders game, Breece Hall was like one of the second in the fewest games to get some amount of receiving yards and rush yards twice in like the shortest amount of games. He's been incredible this year. Again, guys, call into the show, pin comment in the chat. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I mean, Browns don't use any excuses. The Browns they're literally a playoff team with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. It's crazy. Who do you blame more for this season? Woody, Douglas, Saleh, or the injuries we've had? Personally, I blame it on Douglas. He knew Rodgers was basically out for the whole year, and he didn't even try to go after anyone at the deadline. Such a joke. The whole coaching staff needs to go, but I know it's not going to happen. That's the problem. Pin comment in the chat if you guys want to call in. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I mean, even if we had Rodgers, like Damian and Allen were saying, at best we'd be 9-7, probably 8-8. It's all coaching. It's all coaching. Like, the defense is a championship caliber defense, and then Saleh comes in and says they have technique issues. A championship caliber defense does not have technique issues. If you're going to call them championship caliber, don't come back a few weeks later and say they have technique issues. It's a joke. Who do you guys think starts Sunday? I think Simeon still goes back out there. I mean, he looked okay the Browns game. It's just like tired of seeing quarterbacks play that we're never going to use in the coming years. Again, guys, pin comment in the chat, call into the show. I really would love to hear what you guys have to say and comment any questions for me to respond to. We're nearing the 100 subscribers. Let's see where we are right now. Three subscribers away. Again, guys, I really appreciate the support. If you guys could subscribe to the channel, it would really mean a lot. We're nearing 100 subscribers. 6 likes on the video. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, guys. I think we ran out of stuff to talk about. We checked everything off the box. Tomorrow morning, 9 in the morning, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we'll be joined by Will Parkinson. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.